try on different clothes for you, and then they take photos, and they send those photos back to the showrunner, and the showrunner's like, yeah, I like this, I like that, whatever. And in the script where Castiel shows up, it describes Castiel as wearing a trench coat with a suit under it and a rumpled suit, a la Constantine. So it was kind of like there was a real template for the look, because there was this comic book character, Constantine, who had a similar look, so it was like that's what we were going for. I went in for the fitting, put the suit on, the shirt on, tie on, did not fit at all. It was like for somebody who was 6'4" and 350 pounds, like completely oversized. I was swimming in the whole thing. But then I put on this frumpy trench coat, and it covered everything up. A year and a half later, because I thought I was just, I didn't like complain about it. I was just like, I'm just guest starring for a couple of episodes, whatever, it doesn't matter, who cares? Nobody watches this stupid show anyway. And a year and a half later, I went back in. So Jared and Jensen, meanwhile, every single episode, they're going in for a fitting because they're changing their clothes. Every episode, there's always something new. They're always going in for fittings. I have no fittings for a year and a half. And finally, I go into the hair and makeup trailer saying, "I'm sorry, I've been using those like giant like clips for like that you use for like a stack of papers. I've been using one of these clips to try to draw the fabric of my shirt back because it's like a balloon in the front end." And I took the trench coat off and I showed them, and they were like, "What the fuck, Misha? Why didn't you tell us? Why are you wearing this?" So there was a change at that point. It tailored some of my clothing. And then it was like, I don't know, maybe so they killed me. They tried to kill me, and then the president of the network was like, "You're not really killing Castiel, are you?" And they were like, no, don't bring him back. And so I came back at the end of season 7, and I think it was around there that I talked to the showrunner, and I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of like a little bit sick of this like super frumpy, not well-fitting trench coat. Is there any way we could like justify updating the look and do something different?" And they were like, yeah, we'll see what we can do. And so they had me at the end of the season go in for a fitting and like try out new stuff for the next season. And then the script came, and I did. I got a new tie. Tie had like some stripes on it or something. The trench coat was a new trench coat. It was like kind of like a little smaller, a little sleeker, different fabric, slightly different color. And then we came back to film, and there was no justification. It was just Castiel had new clothes, but he decided to get the exact same clothes. Like, Castiel went shopping or something? It was the weirdest thing. And the showrunner said, like, nobody's gonna notice. And apparently that's true. Did anyone notice? Yes. 4 people noticed. It really bothered me, but what can you do? Thank you. That was fun.
Hi, my name is Juliet, and I'm from here. So, before you mentioned that you liked playing other characters, who was the most fun to play and why?
I really did enjoy playing Lucifer Cass. I don't know why, but it just felt like in. It was really fun. And I have a soft spot in my heart for Castiel, just good old-fashioned Castiel, because there was something about playing a character for 12 years where it actually started to just feel like that character was kind of a part of me somehow. Can't really explain it. I mean, short of saying it's probably something akin to having split personality disorder. It felt like very comforting or something to play Castiel, and it felt incredibly known to me somehow. So my heart is with regular Cass, but I had the most fun with Lucifer Cass, which maybe speaks to my personality. Thank you.
I'm Amy. I'm from Los Angeles.
Well, good. Why did you come here?
I'm here with a couple of people. One of them is their first con, and I'm from here kind of originally, so...
Okay, that seems like a pretty good excuse.
Doing double duty with
Got
some
it.
family
Yeah.
and this.
Helping somebody lose their virginity and...
Yeah. So you wear a lot of hats artistically, poet, actor, director, producer. And I'm curious what stories or types of stories are you attracted to as an artist or are inspiring you artistically right now?
I like being involved at the inception point, like creating something. And I've been involved in working with a group of people writing a screenplay right now that we've been working on together, there are 4 of us, for almost a year, and putting a lot of work into it, and that has been incredibly gratifying. But I also like to build furniture and make things with my hands, and I like to think about design and architecture, and I like writing, which is I like writing in a brainstorming kind of context, but I also like writing on my own, like writing a poem, and I think that my personality is such that I like performing. Like I'm doing this one-man show right now, which I've actually put a lot of work into and I've been working on for about a year and a half. And that's been a really fascinating and interesting and challenging and somewhat scary exploration for me. By the way, I think there are a few more tickets for tonight if anybody wants to come. I think you might regret not going, and you'll definitely regret it if you do go. And I think my personality is such that I love doing different things. Like when it starts to feel routine and like, oh, I've done this, I'm used to this, I know how this goes, it starts to feel like drudgery to me, no matter how exciting and interesting and creative it originally started out to be. I did this scavenger hunt, Gish. And when I started, thank you for that sound ring of applause. And when I started it, it was such a creative project for me, and it was so exciting. But then after a decade, I started to feel like it was like we're doing the same thing, and I felt like I was kind of just running a small business, and not like I was really creatively involved. So I like to do different things. Supernatural was another good example of that. One of the things that helped me stay on Supernatural for as long as I did was that we did get to play a variety of things, and it wasn't always the same thing. But I will say, by season 15, it was starting to feel like, I feel like we've done this before. And as much as I loved that show, and as much as I loved the cast and crew, and so many things about that job, I think we were all also ready to go creatively, try something different, go do something new. And even now, from the vantage point of 5 years on, I feel like we could all go back and revisit Supernatural. We could do a Supernatural movie, and it would be awesome. We'd have so much fun with it. Because I know if we did something like that, it would be a very new take on it, right? But it's nice to not be punching the clock, and it's nice, that's been one of the great blessings of the career path that I've had, is that I've got to do different things that I love. And that's not true of everybody. There are a lot of people who really love consistency and ritual and routine, and I'm just not one of those people. I see. I grew like 30 feet. It's because of all my character work as Jared Bell.
Hi, you sexy man.
Mom?
I gotta cherish this moment just staring at your face. It's so cute.
You don't need a microphone to do that, you know.
Okay.
Well, you're doing a great job of making me uncomfortable. Congratulations.
Okay, so I'm Kelly. I'm from Omaha.
Hi, Kelly from Omaha.
Hi. Said my name. So my question is, what talent do you not have, but you wish you did?
Honestly, I can't think of one. What talent do I not have that I wish I did? Okay, I wish I was really good at painting. And I'm not. And I don't know, what else? I'm not really very good at cooking Chinese food. There are a lot of things that I wish I was good at. I'm not great at throwing pots. Like, I can maybe like get 1 out of 6 tries to work if I'm, making pottery. And I can't fly an airplane legally. There are a great many things that I wish I had the skills or the patience to learn the skills for. If we could just download things like in the Matrix, I would be all in. But a lot of things, I don't know if you know this, but there are a lot of things that you have to practice in order to learn. And I'm not interested in that. Like languages. Wouldn't it be great to be able to fluently speak lots of languages? But that's for a different type of person. My son is one of those people. He's like really good at focusing on one thing and just sticking with it. He's been doing Duolingo. Do you guys know Duolingo? And his streak is like years, he never misses a day. And he speaks some of like 4 languages. And I barely speak English.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm French and just turned 44 yesterday.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
First convention, first time in USA. I work with children.
This is your first time in the US?
Yes, yes.
You picked an interesting time to travel to the US.
It's just for you. Just for
Thank you. Did you tweet like any anti-Trump stuff before you got on the plane? I would be kind of tempted to just to see what happens.
I work with children on the spectrum. My question is, do you think Castiel's character is a beautiful metaphor of autism? Or do I really work too much?
What was the last part of your question? Is Castiel maybe on the spectrum?
Or do I really work too much?
Or do you work too much? Well, it's interesting. I often will meet people at these conventions or elsewhere who come up to me and they say, I'm on the spectrum, or I have autism, and I have to say I really identify with the character of Castiel. And while I was developing the character of Castiel in concert with the writers and my fellow actors, it didn't occur to me that Castiel might be on the spectrum, but what I was trying to convey was that he didn't belong, that he didn't quite understand how humans operated, how they functioned with one another. He was looking at them, at humans, as if they were kind of an alien race, and he was trying to decipher their behaviors, their mores, and trying to figure out how to fit in. And I think in some ways that is probably, I'm speculating because I don't really know, but I think that that's probably in some ways an encapsulation of an aspect of the experience of being on the spectrum. It's like people, like certain things that seem easy or normal to people who are not neurodivergent are confusing and challenging and difficult to decipher to people who are on the spectrum. And so, I've seen little clips of Castiel, and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally see that. It wasn't my intention as I was creating the character, but it totally makes sense. And I have totally embraced that in hindsight. And I'm one of the, I have like my own, sort of cockamamie theories about human psychology. But one of them is that we're like ants, and we all have our own jobs in our bigger colony. And the reason that we have all of these differences between us, the reason that some people like have to do new things all the time, and some people like routine, and some people are on the spectrum, and some people are straight, and some people are gay, is that we all actually collectively plug into our network of human family in a way that is that rises, it brings everybody up, and the people who are on the spectrum actually are bringing something that the rest of us don't have to the collective table. They're adding something, and people who have ADHD are actually like really good at being creatives. They just shouldn't be. We just shouldn't be trying to shoehorn people. There was an incredible article in the New York Times recently about ADHD. Look it up if you haven't seen it. But it's about how like a lot of the problem with modern psychology is that we're not. We're trying to make everybody be the same instead of finding combinations to allow each person to flourish their best. And I think that's true, and I think that there are people on the spectrum who are able to see things differently and add so much to the fabric of society, and I feel like the same is true of Castiel. Him being different actually was what made him so valuable and important, not only to Sam and Dean and to that, that found family, but also, to help him save the world. Hello.
Hi, my name's Marie. I live in Washington State.
Where in Washington?
What?
Where?
In Eastern Washington.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. It's a secret location. I understand.
Sorry.
You're
So the question was.
you're part of an experiment that the federal government is running. I get it.
I mean, I could say a more specific location, but I don't. It's not a really
It's not
big
worth it. Okay, that's fine.
place. So, anyways, my question was: so as mentioned previously, there was a lot of like antics on the set of Supernatural, but there were a lot of like also heartbreaking scenes in the show. So my question is, what's the most serious scene that had the least serious takes?
The most serious scene that had the least serious takes. Wow, that is a very difficult question. I don't know. I don't know. There were a lot of, I mean, typically I think it was the serious seeming scenes that had, we tended to respect one another, like when somebody was like going through a real emotional trauma and like tears were streaming down their face, we wouldn't make jokes at that point. We would be kind of shockingly respectful. But if it was a serious, like we're about to crack the case moment on the show, we would fuck with each other mercilessly. There was a scene, I've told this story before, so I'm sorry if you've heard it, but you shouldn't have come back to the convention again. Let's start punishing the repeat customers here, shall we? So, it was a scene, we were in the morgue, it was in the episode called My Bloody Valentine. I can't believe I remembered that. So, it was in the episode My Bloody Valentine, and we're in a morgue, and there's like these hearts on the table, and Sam and Dean are standing on the other side of the table, and I'm approaching the table to talk to them over the gurney there, and I walk up to the table with whatever my line of dialogue was, like, we have to find whoever's cutting these hearts out. And I walk up to the table, and Sam and Dean are opposite me, and Sam has a line, and the camera was on me. It was going right between the two of them. And you could just see like a little bit of Jared's shoulder and a little bit of Jensen's shoulder, and it was on my face. And I walk up to the table, and I delivered my line to Sam. And he said, we have to find whoever's cutting these hearts out. And then I felt that sort of unmistakable feeling of a broom handle in my balls. And I did what I always do when someone starts tickling my balls. Because I started giggling. And the director said, cut, Misha, come on, we gotta go again, please pull it together. And I was like, but and the director's in the other room looking on the monitor, just seeing what the cameras see, and all the cameras see is Misha going, yee! Clearly not taking his work seriously. So it was Friday night, and and the crew was tired of a long week of filming. Everybody wanted to go home. The first AD came over and took the broom away from Jared. So we did another take, and I walked up to the table and I said, we have to find whoever's cutting out these hearts. And then Jared is very flexible, and he does this thing. And it was right in there again. And I'm trying to say the line to Sam as Jared got his foot in my crotch, and I just can't do it, and I laugh again. And the director is exasperated. Misha, come on! We're almost at 14 hours. We have to get this shot. I'm like, sorry, but Jared, Misha, we'll go again. And Jensen, thankfully, says, Misha, just turn and say the line to me. Don't say the line to him. I was like, thank you. And I walked up to the table and I said, we have to find whoever's cutting out these hearts. And Jensen went. And I just laughed. I couldn't do it. The director thought I was a rank amateur. Really frustrating. Thank you.
My name's Keitra. I'm also from Los Angeles.
My God!
I know. We're out here.
Who knew that Minneapolis was such a destination? It's like everybody is... It's great. Hi.
Hi. So, I was wondering, so you've done a lot of conventions, a lot of panels, and I'm wondering if you've ever answered a question at a convention and later thought about it and wished that you'd answered it differently. If so, what was it, and what would your answer be now?
I was at a convention in New Jersey, and I don't remember why I did this exactly, but I asked the audience by a show of hands. I think I was trying to make a joke. Sometimes when I'm on stage, I try to make jokes. And I asked the audience by a show of hands who was straight. What was that? Was that where introvert, that's right. Who's an introvert? And I was like explaining that I'm an introvert. Thank you for remembering my own experience. Who's an introvert? And like half the people raise their hands. And then who's an extrovert? And half the people raise their hands. And then who's bisexual? And I don't know why I thought this would be like it was just a stream of consciousness. It came out of my mouth. And about 3/4 of the audience raised their hand. And then someone yelled from the audience, and they didn't have that at the time, that little thing, said, don't yell. Someone yelled, what are you? And I kind of went, I'm all three. And I just I just wanted to so I don't know why I said what I said, but I said that. And then somebody in the audience tweeted, Misha just came out as bisexual. And then this online rag, Just Jared, picked it up, saw the tweet, retweeted it, and was like, I knew it! And then the gay periodical, The Advocate, they ran an article announcing that I had come out as bisexual. And once it was in The Advocate, then Newsweek picked it up. And Newsweek was like, actor Misha Collins comes out as bisexual. Kind of no surprise there. And then it was like in the Toronto Sun. It was like in major, like legitimate news outlets after that. And I am many things. I happen to not be bisexual. I happen to be heterosexual. I know it sucks. And so nobody would wish that. Like you're cutting off half of your options. But I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, how do I deal with this? Like, I wasn't trying to make fun of bisexuals. I mean, I was being stupid. I was like, had it been a great joke, it would have been one thing, but it wasn't a great joke. So now I'm like, I don't know what to do. And at the time I was on the show Gotham Knights. And the publicist for Warner Brothers called me and they were like, Misha, it's a little bit of a shitstorm right now. So we had a meeting. And like, this was like in a very sensitive moment in the culture. It was like, George Floyd protests that just happened in the Me Too movement, and like everybody is just trying to be careful about what they say, and it's not like now. And I was like, she was like, I was like, I guess I have to make some statements saying I'm not. I have to make some statements saying I'm not bisexual, I guess. And she was like, so we did have a meeting here at Warner Brothers, and we're wondering if there's a world in which you could just go with it. Anyway, then there were follow-up articles. So I think one of the things that I read was like, I think Misha Collins is the first person to ever publicly come out as straight. But yeah, that was something that I regretted saying almost immediately.
We give you. The bisexual community forgives you. And we love you.
I'm born and raised from Minnesota. I didn't come anywhere.
Well, thank you for welcoming so many of us invaders here into your homeland.
Gladly. So my question is of all the cities you've been to with the cons, is there a place or a tourist trap you have visited on your downtime that you loved?
Yes, I went to a totally touristy destination at a convention. One of the first years I was at the Rome convention, I went to Pompeii. It's the most amazing thing you've ever seen. It's this city, this Roman city that was buried by the volcanic ash of Mount Vesuvius, and it was like everybody was killed instantly and buried under this ash, and the entire city was perfectly preserved for 2,000 years. And then it was excavated in these very careful archaeological digs, and it reveals that like we haven't changed at all. Like they had in mosaic in front of the nice houses like a doormats that in mosaic in Latin say "Beware of dog." They had running water. They had running hot water. They had like really beautiful advertisements in the town square, like these big, basically billboards advertising various different things. There was a brothel, and on the outside of the brothel it said "We do fellatio." Like nothing has changed. It was actually quite amazing because it did, like, literally seeing the advertisements, seeing the infrastructure and all of that, it really did it made me have epiphanies about how civilization, we're actually very much the same people that we were a few thousand years ago. We have better, more complicated technology, but we're basically the same, and I thought that was quite profound and super cool, and I can't wait to go that. And the Pompeii Tourism Board does not pay me a penny to say this. All authentic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi guys. Hi Misha. Oh, you're gracing us with your presence, are you?
I figured I should, honor half of my contract.
This is Richard Spade.
Hi.
Rob and I were just commenting, we're very impressed that you're here because we know how much you hate this city.
Right. Go on. Well, I did. I don't know if you heard how we discussed the opening, but I said Minneapolis. You know, you say welcome to LA, home of the Dodgers, whatever. And I said I came down the escalator and said welcome to Minneapolis, home of the guy who mugged Misha. You guys already heard this joke. You can't react anymore. A second time. You
Just horrible. Just horrible.
Well, I mean, that, of course, like, they're celebrating that guy. Not you, who were injured.
I don't work for the Minneapolis Chamber of Commerce.
It wasn't you.
I have nothing to do with it. I am just reporting the news. How's it going for you, buddy? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah.
I like that sweater.
Thanks. I wore it at the last convention.
I know. I recognize that.
Getting a lot of flack for having not changed my wardrobe.
No, man, I think it's ballsy. I say you're like, state be damned, you know?
Well, I also haven't like dry cleaned it or anything.
No, I know. I'm very close to you. Yeah, there it is. Morning, everybody. Well, we're in this coat.
I'm just surprised you haven't you've worn it every day since then. That's what I'm saying.
And slept in it was a bold move. Just like staying in it 24/7. You're really making a statement. Guy,
We calling that royal blue? Is that royal blue? I don't know. Yeah, I like it. It's royal blue. It's a specific kind of blue. Royal blue. It's got a pop to it.
okay, sire.
This one with royal blue.
Finally getting the reaction that I wanted.
Exactly.
Not all of us have a moat around our castle.
When Misha's depressed, we're like, royal blue.
Speaking of blue, no segue at all. Ladies and gentlemen,